Hey everybody, it's June 7th. I haven't done an update since March, so I thought I better do something here. Raspberries are coming in. That would be my cat. Raspberries are moving into the ditch, but that's okay. This is just parkland. This here is like a 4x8 skylight I got for free on Kijiji. I've been using it for my peppers, but not the last couple of years. And this morning I planted, my wife bought me this. I mentioned to a few of you I'm trying to get into perennials a little bit, so one of the things I'm trying is rhubarb. So I planted some Canada Red rhubarb. And you can see it there beside the raspberries behind my shed. I just threw it in with a bunch of leftover dirt from the wife's flower pots. These photos were taken June 1st. This is the peak of the flowering of my apple tree. Last year it didn't flower. Last year it was its first year here after a winter. It seemed to have taken a break last year, but this year it looks like we're going to get tons of apples, hopefully. I've been pretty scarce on the YouTube. I've been busy doing these retaining walls there. That one there took 4 truckloads of dirt to fill. And this one here took 6 truckloads of dirt to fill. Pickup truckloads with the Hutterite sideboards. So I've been super busy. Haven't had much time to do the YouTube thing. Every winter I make a scale drawing of my garden. Of course I've got lots and lots of time on my hands in the winter, so this is what I've planted this year. This is the garden proper. Okay, so here we go. In the foreground I've got red Zeppelin onions. In the background I've got my garlic. These are yellow onions called Hendrix. Somebody in the onion world must like classic rock. I got red Zeppelin and Hendrix for onions. I have leek envy. These are my leeks. I should have planted them earlier perhaps. They're quite small. Smallest leeks I've seen on YouTube this time of the year. I planted out these tomatoes June 1st, and naturally since then we've had 80 km/h winds and tons of rain and extreme cold. Some people at work claim they had frost yesterday morning. I covered my stuff up here, that's why we didn't get frost, I suppose. This here is a terrible looking oxheart tomato. I don't even know if it's going to survive, but I'm hoping some heat will perk up these tomatoes. 2 short rows of carrots. I've got 2 different types of parsnips, Harris Model and Albion. I think one of the types might be coming up here in this row. I got 3 rows of potatoes, Yukon Gold, Red Norland, and some russet potatoes. And I also put 2 hills, and I think these are them, of Russian banana potatoes. Green Arrow peas there, the short half row on both sides. Up there, they're not germinated yet, is a second wave of Sugar Snap peas. That's my first wave of Sugar Snap peas. Looks like I got some gaps to fill in there. And that there is the cabbage dome. I've got the majority of my brassicas in there. Cabbages, broccoli, 4 Brussels sprouts. And this stuff looked just terrible too when I put it out. Still doesn't look great, but it hasn't got any worse. I got 2 types of purple cabbage. Rondale red. The majority of my broccoli fried in the mobile greenhouse for some reason. So these little guys here are from a greenhouse. I just bought a 6-pack of broccoli. You can see this one here is one of my own broccolis that lived. There's a burnt specimen there. So the purple cabbages look pretty good. The green cabbage is not quite so good. Here's a better shot of me garlic. It's a little yellow. We've had lots of rain and cold weather lately. Snow peas on the right. And on the left, I've got some blue potted peas. I got seeds from Elise Joseph and Dale Calder. So that'll be fun to grow. And this is my green arrow peas. Got a pretty good catch on them on both sides. And the empty spot in the foreground is where I'm going to plant out my cucumbers. I may do that today. I may not. I think I'll plant them about halfway between the peas and the edge of the grass there. And then hopefully by the time the peas are played out, the cucumbers will start climbing up on the fence. And I suppose the lawnmower will take care of the rest, or else I'll have to redirect them back into the dirt. So a little less cucumbers here than I usually plant. But I have an overflow garden at my parents'. I'll throw some out there. And here's a dozen or so of the peppers that I've kept for here. Pretty pathetic looking specimens. And between the stakes on the right, the wooden stakes and the stones there are 2 short rows of bush beans. I direct seeded those June 1st, so they should be coming up here any day. And the area between the cabbage dome and the posts is where I direct seeded corn also June 1st. I seeded a very early variety of corn. The cobs won't be very big, but hopefully I'll get some corn before frost. I've been too busy to even garden this year. Normally I would have had my corn in earlier in some regard, either direct seeding or in 6-packs. So, but the corn is called Fast Lane, so it should be hopefully ready in time. Anyway, that's pretty much it for the garden proper. Let's go up front. Here's my ferns. Some of them just come up here in the last week or so. Hopefully they'll fill in here. They haven't done much here in the last few years. It's been about 3 years since I put them in there. And here's what I got going on out front this year. Empty spot for zucchini. I've got 5 Florence fennel. I've never grown fennel before. I'm growing it to make homemade soup bouillon this year. So there's my 4 little rows, a happy little smile of beets. Swiss chard. These are some bunching onions I seeded in March. They're about ready to come out of there and start eating. This is a multiplier onion. Bought it from a set. Couple more multiplier onions, and I've got some, I direct seeded some bunching onions. Yeah, you can see them there. So I should have enough onions to eat hopefully while those little baby onions grow. So 3 Chinese cabbage, a couple of 40-day Golden Cross cabbage. I think these 3 are cauliflower. And these are either cauliflower or broccoli. I think these 3 might be the cauliflower and these 3 might be broccoli, vice versa. Red Russian kale. I've never grown kale before, but everybody else seems to like it, so I thought I'd give it a try. And I don't know whether this shows, I've got short little rows in there, and I've got radicchio and bok choy, baby bok choy, alternating in rows. I got about 5 or 6 little short rows in there, so we'll see what that does for me. And these 2 little guys, I can't remember what they are. We'll find out, I guess, when they get bigger. This is Koss lettuce on the right. Butternut lettuce, I got that idea from Praxis, butternut lettuce, so I tried that out. This is some kind of a purple lettuce. Edox, I think, maybe. And there is some, I started these in the greenhouse, and then the rest is, it's just leaf lettuce, Grand Rapids. And also for my kimchi, I've got, and I've never grown that, daikon radishes growing there, so hopefully they'll be alright. I can never seem to grow radishes. I'm hoping daikon radishes I'll be able to do. Out front here is celeriac. And also I've got some red celery. I got that from Aquarius Chic. I call her Aquarius Chick. And there's my celery. I put out 11 celery there. The milk cartons keeps the sun from making the stems woody. I find it very convenient with the milk cartons too. When I'm watering, I just take and fill the cartons right up with water and you can move on quickly. And today I'm seeding my dill. So I should have a nice big long row of dill there. I'll wait until the 3rd week of June quite often to seed my dill. I use it mostly for pickling, and I find that by seeding later on in June it's still immature and not quite so full of aphids and stuff when it comes time to use. So the latest I think I've seeded dill is June 30th. I know I've done it on the 24th. I think that's called lettuce leaf basil. And in an effort to have perennials, I got this. This is a winter onion, also from Aquarius Chic. A couple more multiplier onions. So anyways, that's what it looks like here on June 7th. Here's a pathetic looking ox heart tomato. It must have some kind of a disease. I generally don't make an effort to grow heirloom varieties, and I suppose here's a reminder of how you can get into trouble. Here's a pathetic looking pepper plant that I got from Stephen Legare. I got to get that in somewhere, or repot it, or do something with it. As well, I've got butternut squash, spaghetti squash, and here's some popcorn I'm going to try out at my parents' with my children. Here's the cucumbers. I'm going to probably put three 6-packs out here at my place and the rest out at my parents'. Here's what my pole beans look like. I germinated them in 6-packs as well and put them outside just in time for some terrible weather. Hopefully they'll be okay. And here's where I may put some odds and ends. I want to put my Gardener's Delight cherry tomatoes here from Baking Soda, Brendan. So I kept, I think, 4 Gardener's Delight. I think I had 7 germinate. I gave a few away. And here's what they look like. They were seeded April 7th, I believe. This is an artichoke, also from Aquarius Chic. And this here is a king 14-foot sunflower. If it grows 14 feet, my plan is to tie it up along the downspout there. So I still have to fill that area in yet. I want to put my ground cherries there as well. Here's a look at what my remaining ground cherries look like. I gave quite a few of them away. I kept a half a dozen or so for myself. They haven't been doing much until lately when we've had some nice weather. This is called a bitter melon from Aquarius Chic. Dale, here's my goji plant. This is the one where it was in the dark for 5 days, and then the cat ate all the leaves off of it, and it's since come back. She's storming here. I'm gonna have to close up the greenhouse right away. So it's taken direct sun now. A few remaining popcorns there. I had kind of a poor germination on the popcorn. I had trouble germinating zucchini, but I managed to get one there.
And here it is.
And here's a pathetic specimen as well. And this is a tomatillo, which I'm also going to put hopefully by my garage there with the cherry tomatoes. And ground cherries. Here's some celery that somebody was supposed to come and get. It's funny how people say they're going to come and pick up something and they never show up. Leftover pepper plants. This here is a ghost pepper. I thought about growing one for myself. I decided against because I didn't want my kids to get injured. At 1,000,000 Scoville rating, they can be quite dangerous. But you know what? I took it anyways from Aquarius Chic. I'm going to dump it out at my parents, and my kids should be safe because they're not out there that often, and the chances of them playing with it in the garden are pretty nil out there. There's too many other things to do. This year it's my turn to use the barrel out front. Stephen Legare foisted these on me, and they're doing quite well in there. These are Jerusalem artichokes, basically like a sunflower, so I'm looking forward to seeing them at maturity. Anyway, all this stuff's got to go out to my parents next weekend, and that's where we're at. Hope everybody's having a good time gardening out there. Bye everybody.